What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video, I want to go ahead and talk about rocket racing. It's something that you guys may have noticed from yesterday's video if you watched it, of me actually playing this mode that hasn't received an update in a long time. I know people were talking about stuff like Fortnite Festival getting less and less love, but if you want to talk about a mode getting no love, let's talk about this relic right here. This is a mode that existed back when Fortnite released their whole entire metaverse Big Bang event and everything else, with the Lego Odyssey mode, with the actual Fortnite Festival mode, and with this mode right here, and all three of those modes were marked as must-succeed priorities, meaning that Fortnite Festival must succeed in order to see the future of Fortnite through. That meant that stuff like Lego Fortnite must succeed to see the future of Fortnite through that they wanted to see. All of those things were things that Epic Games didn't want to see fail at all, and in those things that they didn't want to see fail was this thing right here, good old rocket racing. Now, of course, as we know, based on how the time has evolved and everything, rocket racing did not really succeed. I mean, it succeeded in the sense that now we're able to buy a lot of car decals and stuff in the game, and we're able to use Rocket League vehicles and everything whenever we want to. I mean, as you guys can see by the background footage and me playing right now, this is actually a Hatsune Miku decal and everything else. But in terms of being something people were able to kind of just enjoy, play all the time and get tons of new content updates for, nothing really ever happened in that area. And I mean, that's kind of disappointing to think about, because this is a mode that if they fix the physics of, if they release stuff like that death race mode that they were originally working on, it could have been a really solid mode, but instead it kind of ended up in this finicky, glitchy mess where if the physics weren't on your side one day, congratulations, your car is just going to go ahead and die on you, right? Your car is going to flip under the map or do some other gymnastic trick that a vehicle shouldn't even be doing to begin with. So it is an interesting relic, but you might be wondering, why am I yapping about this? Why am I talking about all this in today's video? And the short reason why is because now it basically exists as a mode people go to whenever they want to complete their ranked quest pretty easily. I mean, if we go over here to the ranked category, the only ranked I've played so far is rocket racing. If I can get this to scroll over, please. And as you guys can see, I almost have 32 out of 50 ranked quests completed, meaning that I almost have, this pickaxe up here, all the loading screens and everything else. And that is all this mode basically exists to be for nowadays. But just saying that doesn't mean that I didn't go through a struggle of trying to play this. Whenever I tried launching into rocket racing, I would get the following error multiple times. It was for months now, right? It was matchmaking error number 1 or number 2. Now, whenever I would look stuff up online, I would see some other people would have this issue, but no one really cared to give a proper fix. I've seen some people say, oh, load into every single rocket racing map one by one by one by one, so that you have the UEFN files or whatever on your computer, so that you're going to be prepared for rocket racing and it'll get past 96% downloaded, and then you'll be good. But I tried that, right? I loaded one map up, worked perfectly fine. I go to the second map, and suddenly it won't load me in, right? I can't load all the maps if one of the maps isn't even loading me in to begin with. I went through my files, deleted all saved UEFN files that I actually had, so I just had the core Fortnite files, and then I even complained on social media. And through complaining on social media, I found the only thing that seemed to actually fix this on PC for me, which was to verify my local files. And not only did I do that, I don't know if that actually fixed it or not, but after I verified my local files, the other thing I went ahead and did was I went ahead and made it so that I had the Rocket Racing Epic Games Store app installed, so that whenever I would launch Fortnite through that app, it would launch me right into the Rocket Racing queue. I've tried other things that people mention online, such as going into, a different game mode, closing the game, opening the game back up, or launching Rocket Racing that way or whatever else. I did other stuff people were mentioning, stuff like, oh, hey, go ahead and launch rocket racing, go into that lobby or whatever else, close your game, reopen it, and there were just so many steps to go through for one game mode. And it's I've never had this issue with any other game mode in the game. Not even imposters back when that existed in Fortnite. That one even had less issues than this. Sure, there were some glitches here and there where you'd have 12 imposters or whatever else, and those were all little core broken pieces of that mode, but nothing as bad as what I've ever had with rocket racing, where I just was unable to play it to begin with. It's something that I think about right? And I know that they're never planning on bringing back imposters. The only reason we get imposters showing up in the files here and there is because sometimes they reuse the assets for events. Sometimes they reuse the assets for actual LTMs or modes or whatever else, and it's not because they're actually thinking, you know what, let's bring imposters back. The closer you're getting to imposters in Fortnite is UEFN and player-made, well, not those are both the same thing, but UEFN and Among Us Backwing. And that's pretty much all you have for that mode. But Rocket Racing is such a must-succeed thing for Epic Games that they're not even going to remove it, right? You know, you look at stuff like Imposters, that wasn't a must-succeed thing. It was more of like an LTM that was popular for a short amount of time that stopped getting updates shortly after launch. They removed it to focus their resources on other things. However, with Rocket Racing, it's still here. They haven't removed it. They're not focusing resources on other things or anything like that. And it's such an odd situation to me. You know, you have this mode kind of just dying, drowning in the files and everything else, having worse of an experience than you get with something like Save the World existing, which still gets updates. This mode hasn't gotten an update in so long, but I've seen fake leaks that I was like, oh, guys, the Lightning McQueen vehicle, that's going to revive the Rocket Racing mode. I mean, we even know that they had, like, you know, the Lightning McQueen, you know, the Cars collaboration stuff going on, and how there were going to be Rocket Racing maps and everything. I even saw people saying that Disney's going to revive Rocket Racing. They're going to have stuff like the Incredibles car and everything else, the Incredimobile or whatever you want to call it, and make it something where it's, you know, a special limited time mode thing in Rocket Racing. But I doubt that's going to happen. Epic Games knows that it's better at this point just to kind of sell car cosmetics that they were able to bring into the game because of Rocket Racing and let this mode just slowly die out over time, which makes me think, will this mode ever get removed? Because when we think about the old situation with Epic Games back when Imposters was just an LTM that kind of became a permanent mode for a while, it was something where we didn't think it was going to get removed or anything. You know, the player count kind of lowered over time or whatever, but it still was fun to play. However, here you have Rocket Racing, which has a bunch of complaints, a bunch of ways for people to that, you know, have suggested for them to improve it or whatever else, and a bunch of things going on where it's like, hey, you know, it's not that bad of a mode. You're able to play it, you're able to have some fun here and there, but at the same time, they just dropped the ball on it. They stopped caring about it. They don't care what's going on with this mode right here. Whatever happens to it happens. You know, if you want to play it, go ahead. If it breaks, you know, maybe someone like FireMonkey or whoever else online is going to make a post about it, and maybe Epic Games might look at it for 1 minute, and then it'll break 10 minutes later. But as we know, it's just this like oddity, right? Where it should be removed at this point, right? If they were still going by the logic of Imposters back then, this mode shouldn't be here anymore. But for some reason, it still is. And it's just so odd to me, right? You know, it's so interesting to see because there's so many different ways they could have taken this. I mean, you know, whenever we're going into a match like this in ranked mode, it says by Epic because of the fact that, you know, there is UEFN. People are able to make their own experiences. So why don't they just do like an infinite content thing and allow us to go ahead and play UEFN approved maps or curated maps or whatever else in ranked racing so that we would have some new experiences to go with, and then Epic Games wouldn't even have to make the content to begin with. I feel like this is Imposters all over again. I know I keep referencing that mode, but it is true because of the fact that I remember back when Imposters was out, I was like, ooh, Epic Games could do some really good things with this mode. You know, they can go ahead and make some new maps or whatever else, or they could let the community make the maps. It's basically the exact same situation here. And I feel like if it ever gets down to that point nowadays where I'm out here talking to you guys about how Epic Games should just let the community make the maps, it's a sign that the mode isn't set to survive longer than it currently has been, and we shouldn't even be expecting to see this for much longer. Now, of course, will we be seeing it for much longer? Most likely, because, you know, even though it failed, Epic Games kind of just keeps it around because, you know, all of their metaverse modes have to still exist or whatever else. It's some weird philosophy they've been doing recently. So it's just something that I thought I would go ahead and yap about for a little bit, you know, get your guys' thoughts on and everything, because I do think that this mode can be fun sometimes, you know, especially if you're not like trying to compete or anything. Like here, you know, I'm not trying to be first place or anything. I'm just trying to casually get some of my ranked quests done over time. Then it's kind of just like a little chill experience. But at the exact same time, there's so many better things they could have done. They could have just unscrapped the whole entire death race mode that they were working on. They could have done so much else, but instead we're just sat here with the corpse of a dying mode. Now, I do know there's still some people out there that play it. There's still some people who go for Unreal Rank and all that type of stuff in Rocket Racing. If you're someone who enjoys this mode, I am not dissing on you. Feel free to enjoy whatever mode you want to enjoy, but I'm just saying that from Epic Games as a company, it's interesting to see this relic kind of just still existing here and how much it kind of just screams Imposters nowadays. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing, because I liked Imposters. I want Imposters to return in some form or way in the game, especially if they're going to let a mode like rocket racing exists this long, you know, it might as well bring back that mode too, right? You know, maybe you'll get another surge of players now that you're trying more for this whole metaverse thing or whatever else, but it just is kind of sad to witness the slow decaying of some of the modes that Epic Games so hyped up during live events and everything else in the past, right? You know, it's something where it's like, oh, you know, they were talking about how this is so revolutionary, how people won't get it at first, but as time goes on, they'll learn to embrace the metaverse and all this type of stuff. However, here, it looks like the only thing we're really embracing is the fact that, hey, we get some car collaborations now, am I right, guys? Well, with that said, hope you champs and champions enjoyed today's YouTube video. Hope you liked watching me play some rocket racing for a little bit of time. You know, it wasn't anything too crazy or anything, but it still is interesting to see how this mode is somehow still around after so long, when other modes in the past of Fortnite's history would have just died out at this point and never been played again. Until next time, however, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you didn't like it, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow with another upload. So until then, peace out.